Hey everyone, I know some of you guys saw my last video, where I basically say that the real winner of the other night's debate was Big Bird. Obviously the video was satire, it was a joke, and I am going to be making more videos like it and talking about more stuff like that, but not on this channel. It's really just something with some friends and family, just kind of goofing around. You know, laughing about things, not taking it so seriously. So if you like that kind of humor, you know, that kind of goofy stuff, if you like the Big Bird jokes, I encourage you to check out that channel. That way I can keep the humor separated from the serious stuff, so you guys who subscribe to me because you wanted to hear me talk about serious issues, you can keep doing that. And for those of you who want to hear more of the jokes, more of the lighthearted side of the discussion, you can check out that channel, and that's Big Bird 2012 campaign. I have in my favorites list the first video I made there, kind of a Big Bird campaign ad. But anyway, all jokes aside, and in all seriousness, I do want to make a more serious video. And also discuss the point of the last video. As much as it was to be funny and to joke, obviously I'm really voting for Gary Johnson. I'm not going to vote for Big Bird. That would just be foolish. Now, if Gary Johnson is forced off the ballot, as the Republicans are trying to do, maybe I'll think about it, but in all seriousness, the other point of the video was the fact that we are having a presidential election. We had a presidential debate a couple days ago, and it is the most serious thing. It is the most important decision that we will make for 4 years. The fate of this country over the next 4 years, that decision is going to be made in less than a month from now. And what do we take away from the discussion on these serious issues? The discussion between two individuals who might be getting that position? What do we take away from it? Big Bird. I wasn't exaggerating in the last video, sadly. Big Bird really was the most tweeted subject during the debates on Twitter. And he is the one that everybody in the news, all the political pundits and analysts are talking about. Big Bird. Mitt Romney's statement on Big Bird. What is Obama talking about? Big Bird. Oh, how ridiculous it is that Mitt Romney wants to go after Big Bird and Elmo. You know, this is serious. But, you know, I think it just is reflective of how degraded the debates have become. Because nobody talks about real issues. The candidates don't want to talk about real issues, about tough issues. They want to talk about Big Bird. They want to have personality contests and beauty pageants. They don't want to talk about real stuff. They don't want to talk to real people who might challenge them. They don't want that. But I do want to talk about Mitt Romney's statement in its full context. What Mitt Romney basically said was, you know, yeah, he likes Big Bird and he likes what PBS does. But we do need to make cuts to public broadcasting, because otherwise, he said, we're going to be borrowing money from China to pay for it, and we can't be doing that. And I just want to both agree and disagree with Mitt Romney, and let me tell you why. I agree with Mitt Romney in this sense. Public broadcasting should not be a difficult thing to cut. I loved PBS when I was a kid. I was a huge fan of the Wishbone series. Some of you might remember the little terrier dog that, you know, he went throughout all the classical literature and went on these little adventures. And you know, I really got into it when I was a kid. I loved it. But I remember watching PBS, and before every show it would say, this program is brought to you by, and they would list like 4 or 5 major corporate sponsors just of that show. Okay? PBS has corporate sponsors. They get voluntary contributions from their millions of viewers. They have telethons every year to raise this money. I think they can survive without our tax dollars. You know, and you have networks like Nick Jr. that are also producing content for children. You know, Dora the Explorer, Blue's Clues, things like this. And they don't need tax dollars to survive. They have commercials like everyone else. And public broadcasting, NPR, if they have to switch to commercial revenue, they have to do it. I mean, we have a $1.4 trillion deficit, a $16 trillion debt. I think we need to cut something. Or in that case, Mitt Romney is right. We're going to be borrowing that money from China. We're going to be, you know, we have to be really willing to sacrifice certain things, to cut certain things that aren't absolutely critical. The reason I'm going to challenge Mitt Romney on that statement is because he wants to pretend suddenly that he's a fiscal hawk and that he's a big fiscal conservative, when his record in Massachusetts says otherwise, as does his campaign platform. Listen, he was the author of Obamacare. Everybody knows it. It's not really a secret anymore. You know, it's kind of the elephant in the room, no pun intended, on the Republican Party having the elephant seal. But, yeah. See, he invented Obamacare in Massachusetts. And now that he's a Republican, he wants to denounce it, he wants to repeal it, he's its worst enemy. But now that he wins the Republican primary, well, I'm only going to cut certain things out of it. You know, I'm not going to get rid of all of it. I think some of it's good. And Mitt Romney's replacement plan costs just as much money as Barack Obama's Obamacare proposal. So fiscally speaking, he's not that strong. And what about the military? 51% of the federal budget is spent on the military. Not education, not healthcare, not Social Security, not even all of those things combined. 51% just military spending. Maybe we could afford to not have 900 bases overseas, or not be in 130 countries, or not go to war with every country in the Middle East at the drop of a hat. Maybe not go to war with Iran, which is going to happen. Mitt Romney or Barack Obama, guarantee you we'll be going to war with Iran within the next 2 or 3 years at least, maybe earlier. But maybe we could afford to cut back on that a little. Maybe a $1 billion embassy in Iraq, now being protected by mercenaries, is a little bit of overkill. Maybe I could go on and on. Military spending could be cut down. Mitt Romney says he's going to increase it. He says he's going to keep Medicaid and Medicare in check. We can't make any cuts there, he says. So what really is he going to be cutting other than public broadcasting? We know he's going to cut Big Bird. Fine. What else is he going to cut? Because according to the Ryan plan, he's not going to balance the budget, meaning we're stuck with this deficit this year. He's not going to balance the budget for 28 years. I will be in my 50s by the time the budget is balanced. I don't even want to think what the national debt is going to look like by then. And by the way, this 28 years, that's assuming economic growth that may or may not happen. Oh, and again, Mitt Romney's asked how is he going to pay down the deficit and the debt. He says, well, you have to grow the economy. He doesn't say how he's going to grow the economy. How are you going to do it, Mitt? He just says, oh, you grow the economy and that takes care of itself. No, you have to cut something. You know, I just feel like Ron Paul here. Nobody really wants to cut anything from anything. It's all talk. But, yeah, you get the point on that. We have to make serious cuts. And the other statement I want to disagree with that Mitt Romney made, even though he's partially correct, yes, we will be borrowing money from China, but I guarantee you we're not going to get all $1.4 trillion from China. We are going to once again be printing the money. But Mitt Romney's not going to talk about that because he's buddies with the Fed. He's buddies with Ben Bernanke. He doesn't want to ruffle the tail feathers of the Federal Reserve. Are you kidding? He's not going to do anything to end the Federal Reserve. He's not going to audit the Fed. He's not going to challenge the Fed at all. It's just going to go on as usual. And he's not going to talk about the fact that we are printing money, destroying our currency, and on the verge of a monetary collapse. Our currency will be no better than toilet paper. But Mitt Romney doesn't want to talk about that, which just goes to show, once again, a real and major issue being completely ignored in the debates. All because it's the two major parties want to have a beauty pageant and a personality contest and don't want to discuss real issues with the real candidates. We have one candidate that's on the ballot in at least 47 states, hopefully 50, and DC, and he's going to submit a balanced budget next year to Congress. Might not get a pass, but that's more than the other candidates are doing. And veto all spending where spending exceeds revenue. Gary Johnson. But of course he's not in the debates. And so this issue in the debate on the economy went completely and totally ignored. You know? And it's just going to keep getting like this. And nothing's ever going to change as long as we let the two major parties continue to play their game of partisan politics. I guess that's all I really have to say on this issue. I'm going to keep trying to keep you guys posted. I want to put a quick reminder. Remember to register to vote, because that deadline is coming up really soon in some states. The day after tomorrow in Pennsylvania, in fact. Yeah, so make sure you register to vote, and make sure November 6th you vote for Gary Johnson. Just that quick reminder. Thank you guys for watching and listening. As always, I'm hoping for the best in liberty. See you guys.